long. Okay, so we are in week 5. Congratulations for all of you who have been coming to class and doing your work. That's wonderful. Quick assignments check. So far from week 1, you should have completed and email me the review packet. You should have completed checkpoint 1 of the project, which is where you understand the good and the bad of plastics, pros and cons. Checkpoint 2, which we work on for 2 weeks, weeks 3 and 4, where you have identified a problem that you want to focus on as it relates to plastic. And this week we are starting checkpoint 3. Anybody has any questions? If you have questions, you are welcome to ask, or you are welcome to wait until I'm done presenting so you can ask personal questions. Okay. Checkpoint 3. Having understood and selected a problem that you want to focus on, that's what checkpoint 2 was about. Checkpoint 2 was not about us talking about all the good things that plastics do. Yes, plastics do a lot of good things, from medical usage to containers, you name it. Everywhere we go, we basically buy something in a plastic bottle or use it as containers and all that stuff. But this project is about identifying a problem, because from checkpoint 1, we saw that plastics do a lot of good. It also causes a lot of problem to the environment. And this project is about you identifying one of those problems and figuring out a solution, which you should have done on checkpoint 2. Checkpoint 3 is about you developing a solution. In this checkpoint, you will use the engineering design process to develop and refine a prototype. This prototype is your suggestion solution to your design problem. So you have to understand, we are not in school and it's a pandemic, and I don't even want, people going out, getting exposed. So this project, even though you're going to be designing and coming up with an idea, you're not really, if you can do it, if you can find things at home to do it, that's wonderful. Or if you can take a short trip to the dollar store, you and your face mask and all, and get items to design your prototype, that's wonderful. And if you can only do it on paper, like draw it nicely, what your prototype would look like, then that would be, that's at least what I need to see. All right, so let's go to the project. Let's go to Summit. So you guys should know how to get to your project. Pros and cons. So everybody should be on Summit. Is everybody on Summit? Go to environmental science. I'm not doing a student view. You should be able to find the project. You go to checkpoint 3, developing a solution. Developing a solution. Checkpoint 3, developing a solution, because you are already identified your problem. And we saw from our previous lessons how easy it is to find a solution, a problem with plastics. You literally go to Google and you type negative impacts of plastics, and you would see tons of research, peer-reviewed articles on all the problems that plastics are causing, from killing animals, making humans sick, polluting the soil, underground water, so many issues. And all you had to do is choose one. So for checkpoint 3, here You would have already chosen your problem. Now you're going to get into developing the solution part. In this checkpoint, you will use the engineering design process to develop and refine a prototype. This prototype is your suggested solution to your design problem. Okay? You're going to brainstorm ideas, narrow down your options, and designing an action plan and explaining your design. So before we get into all those parts, I want to break down the design process for you guys. So let's go back to the slide, PowerPoint slide. All right. So when you are engineering the design problem, there are at least 8 steps, and I'm breaking them down here for you guys. And what I want you guys to do is either on your project, or you can turn on your mic and share with us. First thing you need to do is define the problem. In this case, so you guys hear me? The engineering design process, which is where you are right now, checkpoint 3, has at least 8 good steps. And I have written them down with their definition. And as I'm going through them, I want you guys to take the time to almost kind of like do the checkpoint as we're going through it, even if it's like a rough draft, okay? So define the problem. In this case, the problem is the environmental issues caused by plastics that you would have chosen. So type your problem. If you are welcome to type it on your project, checkpoint 3, where it says brainstorm, because you want to have all those steps down. So what is your problem? Can somebody share their problems with me? Which problem did you, which problem is plastic causing to the environment that you have chosen to do? Come on now, guys. This is the part where you talk. I can't see the chat box because I'm presenting the PowerPoint slide. So if somebody could unmute their microphone and just say what they want to do, so I know somebody's listening. Amir, what's your problem? Amir, let me see another person. Danira, what is the problem that you have chosen to solve? Guys, this is how you have to participate. You really do. And think about it, it's you doing the project as I'm going along, as I'm explaining it to you. So you are at this part right here. So what you want to do, even if you don't want to write it on the chat box, you can write it down here, right? So even though it talks about brainstorm, but you can start by writing the problem, and then we're going to talk about and as I'm going over the design process, you can write down what you're thinking as I'm reading the steps and the definitions to you. That makes it easier. Doing what you're supposed to do when you're supposed to do it. All right. So perhaps you have chosen. So let me just mention a few problems. Maybe you have chosen your problem to be how plastics is negatively affecting human health, right? How plastics is killing marine animals, how plastics is polluting the soil, how plastic is polluting underground water, pollution emitted from the plants who are making those plastics, manufacturing those plastic bottles, right? So many problems. So here, another for you to, so when we're looking at number 1 and number 2 of the design process, this is the work that you should have done on checkpoint 2. All right. So hopefully, as I'm going over it, you guys or getting ideas even to go back to checkpoint 2 to complete. But I'm encouraging you guys to participate, not just for me, but it really literally helps you complete the project as we're going over the explanation of what you need to do for this checkpoint. The second important thing of in the engineering design process is in identifying constraints for your design, constraints and criteria. Constraints are the limitations that you have. How much time do you have? Maybe, so we have until June the 12th to complete this project, okay? Whatever you are designing, you can allocate a certain amount of money. So imagine you have a contract with the city or something like that, and you have to design this prototype, or you have to design this machine that's going to help solve a specific problem that you have been assigned to solve. So you might have time as a constraint, money as a constraint, okay? How much of those machines can you manufacture within a specific amount of time? Maybe the city would have liked 100 of your great invention, but maybe you can only do 50, which is still good. Criteria for success. What are the things that your machine must do? Remember, you are designing a solution for a specific problem, so it must solve that problem. So can somebody share their constraints or criterias? You can type it in the chat box. I can't see the chat box because I'm presenting, or type it on your checkpoint, or unmute your speaker so you can share. Danira? Who's here and not participating? As chatty as I know you guys are to be, this is just a shame. Anisha. All right, everybody's quiet. That's fine. So you have to identify the constraints.
You're not paying attention, Miss Fran.
You said what?
You're not paying attention to our messages.
Oh, I said I am. That's good. I said I couldn't see them because I'm on my phone, but you're recording, so I'll watch it on YouTube. Okay. I don't know what you're talking about. Okay. So what I'm talking about is from checkpoint 2, because this is checkpoint 3. From checkpoint 2, you must have identified issues, constraints, and criteria for your design. What is it that your design must do? Your creation, whatever you are designing, what is it that it must do? That's based on the solution that is based on the problem that you attempting to solve, right? If you say you want to remove plastics from the ocean so they don't negatively affect the marine animals, then it must do that. Constraint, how much time do you have? What are the things that could possibly limit your design? Okay. Next, brainstorm. Now that if you have your problem and you identified your constraints and solution, brainstorm multiple solutions for your problem. Now, this is the part that I want you guys to share. That is based on your checkpoint 2. If you know the problem, what solution from all the research that you did, all the articles that you read that defines your problem, what it is, how it's affecting the environment in a negative way. What are the solutions that you can come up with? Lamaya, what solutions do you have to your problem? What is your problem, Lamaya? What problem are you solving with plastics and as it relates to the environment?
I don't know.
Oh, Lamaya.
Just sitting here listening to y'all. I wasn't in class last week.
Okay, so I'll check in with you. So Amir, what are the some of the solutions that you can brainstorm? Because if you notice checkpoint 2 here, it's asking you to brainstorm solution to your idea. Don't anything that you can think of, you write it down. It's not allowing me to edit. Okay, anything that you can think of, you write it down. If you are talking about marine animals, are you thinking about having a machine that will remove a certain amount of plastics in the rivers per day? Where are you starting to implement the solution? Because things that get in the ocean, they usually start on rivers. They usually start in cities. When are you going to start implementing the solution? Where are you tackling the problem? Are you tackling it right at the beginning, where it starts with people consuming products and not disposing of their plastic waste properly in the cities, in urban areas? Wherever, or you're gonna tax, but there's cleanup initiative that needs to happen too. So you're gonna start with the a recycling process, or you're gonna start with cleaning the rivers, cleaning the oceans, putting filterings in place so they can capture those plastics before they enter the rivers or the landfill. Where are you? Those are all the multiple solutions that you can come up with. If you talking about, if your problem is how plastic is negatively affecting human health, right? Because they break down there are certain drinks that you buy in certain plastic bottles that are like low quality. The plastic actually disintegrate into the drink or the liquid. And when you drink this thing, you're actually drinking plastics as well. Do you want to have maybe a detector that tells people how much plastic is in this food that you're eating? Something like a little straw. If people are drinking out of the straw, maybe the straw is going to turn a different color if it detects plastic molecules. Or you're going to require the manufacturers to put the kind of plastic chemicals that they are making this bottle with, so people know the risk that they're exposing themselves to. Or you're going to start with education. What are the possible solutions? So you have to put all those things down, right? Then you select one good promising solution. So we already went to defining the problem, identifying the problem, brainstorm. Once you know what your problem is, what are all the solutions you can come up with? And select one of those problems that you find would be most promising. Because here, even though it says brainstorm, and I show you guys what I just explained to you, what the brainstorm process is, you write down everything you can think of. Okay, brainstorm solution to your design problem. Don't evaluate or remove any ideas yet. Try to come up with the most ideas possible. Now look at your list. Start by grouping ideas that seem similar. Now that you have your final list, which idea seems the most promising? Highlight your top 5 ideas. And here you bring down your top 5 idea. Based on the investigation on checkpoint 2, what are some strengths and weakness of this idea? So if you were doing plastics, environmental impacts of plastics on land animals, for example. So you have researched how, you have zebras, hippopotamus, all kind of animals in Africa dying with plastics inside their stomachs. What are the articles that you have found? So you can tell me what are the strengths or weaknesses for the design that you might want to create. Are you going to create a robot that's going to be going around swooping plastics off of the safari? Or are you going to put recyclable bins all around where tourists are walking around so they can dump it in. What are the top designs that you have? And then you're going to tell me the strengths of this design, meaning that you think about the criterias and the constraints and it say, okay, that's doable. That's plausible. So those are the strengths. Weaknesses, again, with criteria and constraints, what might stop this machine from being successful and doing what you want it to do. Okay. Now come the hardest part. Deciding which design to prototype. Based on your analysis above, which design will you develop? So all the way up here from the brainstorm to narrowing your option, again, you're not doing all the ideas that you have here. Even when you select the top 5, that's just, again, to help you narrow things down. You're only going to choose one of those ideas that you have. You're going to choose one. Which one you're going to prototype? Okay, is there a way to combine the best parts of your top designs? So, and then you're gonna write this one down. So let me go back to the presentation so I can go to the next part of the designing process. All right, continuing with engineering multiple design. Copy. Control V. Engineering multiple design process. Continued. Make a prototype. This is where you take your time and you have decided from all the wonderful ideas that you have brainstormed. Because how were you able to do that? Because you did your checkpoint 2. You found an issue, a problem that plastic is causing that you find interesting, and you say, okay, I'm going to attack this problem. You found so many resources about this problem, and you brainstorm ideas of how you can solve this problem. Out of all your ideas, and as you're doing this, you do not have to wait all the way to the end to email it to me, to share with me. You can ask for help throughout the process so I can help you. But I can only help you if I can see your brainstorm. I don't know what you're thinking, right? So where am I at? Okay, prototype. Make a prototype. Now you're going to choose the best idea and make a prototype. It's you design something. Prototype is the product. You're designing the product, and then you test it out. You try it, and it's all hypothetical. Let's say you build a robot. You can't, first, unless you have a lot of materials at home, or you can order stuff online. You can literally draw it on paper and show me all the parts where where it will take in the plastic or break it down, or what it will be doing. You can take your time to do that, then evaluate it after you try testing it out hypothetically, right? Because if you're doing it on paper, you can't really try it, but you can imagine it, placing it where you want to place it, and think about what might not work. And you ask questions to see what did or did not. What did or did not work. Okay, so what did or did not work? Then you iterate. Iterate means going back to your prototype and making improvement, making change to your prototype. Let's say, oh, my robot is not cleaning as much plastics as I thought it would because of this design error. So you go back and you add a bigger motor, or it's not filtering. Let's say you draw a straw or something to detect the amount of plastics within a drink bottle, right? So you want, maybe your problem was identifying, maybe your problem was the harmful effect of plastics on human health. And one way you might want to solve this problem is by letting people know, look, if you buy this straw and you put it in your little juicy juice box, it'll tell you how much plastics is in the liquid. That means the plastic sipped out, which is a real thing. The plastic sipped out of the container and got into your drink. So when you think you're drinking orange juice or apple juice, you're drinking apple juice with plastic. And it actually get into your system, and it causes cancer or other physical health or physical harm to your body, because plastics is not something that our body can break down. So maybe it's not, maybe your little straw is not doing what you want it to do. It's not changing color or something like that, the way you would want it to work. So then then you can go back and make improvement in your prototype, and now it works. And now you can tell me, Ms. Francois, this is my solution to the problem that I have chosen to solve as it relates to the negative impacts of plastic in on the environment. Does that make sense? Well, are we still there? Are my wonderful people still there or not? All right, great. It's good to see that you guys are still here. All right, great. So I would like to hear from you guys. Do you understand what you need to do or not? Because I think this project is really wonderful. If it feels complicated, it's probably because you have not done the work that you were supposed to do. Because the project, it will really be easy if you start at the very beginning. What is the problem with plastics that you want to solve? Again, I said do not make it up. Literally go to Google. And I think from the videos that are on the links, you will see all the research tips that I have given you. You literally go to Google and you type negative impacts of plastic. This is such a broad problem. The content is so vast. The moment you go to Google and you type negative impacts of plastic, let me show you. Negative. See, as I'm even typing negative, it's giving me all those things. Well, because I did so many search. Negative impacts of plastics on you. Okay, so now not only that, look, now the link is on the Google tab. Look, if I put the cursor right next to it again, look at all the prompts. How is plastic harmful to human? What is the problem? What are the problems caused by plastics? How does plastic harm the environment? Harmful effect of plastic on the environment. So why is plastic bad for the ocean? So we already went through that. If you guys were not here, you have to go through the links. And I think I need to email some links to Mr. Rogers to post. But the links are available on your calendar as well. So once you have identified a problem, then you narrow down your search for that specific problem. If you want to do if you want your problem to be the negative impacts of plastic on marine life, just type that. It's gonna give you a lot of links. In the language is pretty simple. You get it. Or the negative impacts of plastic in human health. It's gonna tell you, because it's a big problem. Kids, they go to the hospital and they do blood tests and they see high level of BPA. That's bad. For those of you who might be having kids or have kids or little family members, it's good when you're buying containers for the baby to make sure that it's BPA free, because that's kind of like a chemical that is bad for human. It's not supposed to get into your bloodstream. And when you put like hot food or something like that in the plate or the container or the bottle, it's sipped into the food. And you think you're eating the food, but you're eating food plus plastic. What happens when plastic gets into underground water? That's fresh water. What happens? What happens when plastics are broken down into very, very small micro parts, and they get into the soil where we're growing the food? What happens to what is the harmful effects of plastic in land animal? Those are all problems that you can choose to do your checkpoint 2 on, and find articles telling you how bad this problem is, what it's doing, blah, blah, blah. So then now you would have been ready for your checkpoint 3. Okay? which is where now that you have identified a problem, you understood what the problem was. Now you can get ready to develop a solution for the problem. Okay, so where was I? Sorry. So those are the 8 steps of designing the designing process. You define your problem, checkpoint 2. You identified constraints and criteria. That's from checkpoint 2. That you should have done. Brainstorm multiple solutions. Think about everything that you can think of that would help you solve this problem. Write them down, write them down, write them down. Then narrow it down to the most promising one. Select the most promising solution. And that could help you too, based from checkpoint 2, all the resources that you found. Maybe there's a common point on all those on this problem that you're finding. It's like, oh, I want to start solving this problem there. If you're talking about plastics in the ocean that are killing all those wonderful animals from them eating it or getting tangled in them and all that stuff, where do you want to start solving this problem? Or do you want to go straight to the ocean and extract the plastic there? Do you want to stop them from the rivers, the river stream going into the ocean? Do you want to start this problem from home, where the people or the marketplace, the city, where they have the recycling plants? Where do you want to solve this problem, right? So if you take some time, that as you're supposed to, right, because it's a project, you can't just do it on a whim, and you research. And if you need help, that's why we have office hours. Miss Francois, I'm doing my project on this. Help me find resources. Then that's my job. I will be happy. But you have to start somewhere. It's your science class. It's your credit. You have to do the work. And there's people available to help you. So those are the 8 points of the designing process that you need to think about, and then you bring it here. Okay, you would have chosen your top design. Okay, now designing an action plan and expanding your design. You will need to develop an action plan to develop and refine your prototype. A good action plan has clear steps in a logical order. A good action plan for engineering design also involves collecting data to inform your improvements. This is the part here that we talk about where you're doing the test. That was one of the bullet points of the design, the 8 parts that we talk about. So here you want to describe, paste a sketch of your initial prototype. What material will you need to build this? So first, start with the prototype. What is your vision? What problem are you solving? How are you going to solve it? What is the thing that you're going to design to solve this problem? So this is your imagination. Maybe you want to do a 3-legged robot. Maybe you want to do a robot that swim like a mermaid or something, that goes around and collect the trash, the plastics in the ocean. Maybe you want to do like a pump that's going to be able to, that you'll be able to insert into underground water, that will be able to detect and tell people. So that way, when the water is being pumped from underground, it'll be able to be filtered. So that way the plastic does not get to the people or the environment, and how you can stop that from happening. So whatever vision you have in your head of your design, you draw it out. You draw it on paper. If you don't have that, hopefully, you have $2-3. You can go to the dollar store to get paper and color crayons and things like that, so you can make it nice and creative. And you are welcome to email it to me. Email the steps wherever you are, so I can be like, oh, maybe you need to put a part over here. So if you're saying this robot is supposed to collect trash, collect plastic, I'm not seeing the part where it's doing the collecting. Where will the motor be? How is it going to suction this plastic? Okay, or maybe you can put a part here to do that, with a net or something like that, right? So whatever it is, whatever your design is going to be, that's definitely based off of your problem that you have chosen. How will this design help solve the design problem you identified? Okay, that's the criteria. You're going to explain how this is going to happen. Design your action plan below. Describe the data you would collect as part of your action plan. And how would you use this data to refine your improvements? That's right here. This here talks about the test. You try it out. Is it collecting the amount of trash that you had, the amount of plastic that you had expected it to collect? If not, is it not big enough? Is it not powerful enough? What is the problem? If you had designed a straw, for example, to tell people how much BPA or any other subcategories of plastics that are in their food from the container, how is it doing that? Is it supposed to light up or something? If it's not, or changing color from this color to this color, indicating this and that, if it's not doing that, why not? How are you going to improve that? Whatever, that again depends on your problem in the design solution that you would have came up with, and then iterating by making improvement based off your data. And that's all hypothetical because we might not have the opportunity to really create this machine, but you definitely can do the prototype and you can use your imagination. And we can talk about that step. Okay. And then once you have done all those steps, you have your final working machine, and that is your solution. Questions. I know I'm doing a lot of talking because I really want you guys to understand what you need to do, but I really do need you guys to participate, especially when I ask you guys to. You are welcome to unmute your microphone and let me take a screenshot so I know who was here. And tell me what you're thinking. And to me, this project is fun. I think it's fun. It's very creative, and I'm all about fun and creativity. So, but it's not going to be fun if you're not doing it. So I'm thinking you guys are not participating as much because maybe you did not finish your checkpoint 2. Would you guys like me to go back to checkpoint 2 and show you what you should have done, could have done, or not could have, should have done? All right, I'm going to stop the recording now because I think I'm done with the presentation. So we can go back